Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to share with you my pure Lunalight deck profile. Now unfortunately on the latest ban list, Lunalight got hit by losing two tenkis, which kind of reduced the consistency of the deck by basically 2 copies of each Beast Warrior level 4 or lower in your deck, but the deck is still able to function as a very interesting OTK deck. Now, before we jump right into the video itself, I'm going to say 2 things. The first one is that there is a combo section in this video. However, the combo section is for the combos if you are forced going first or game 2 and 3, which your opponent will probably force you going first because you're playing Lunalights. So how are you able to deal with those, as well as they're kind of good way to teach you the sequences. And the other thing I'm going to basically ask from you is the usual thing that if you want to help this channel and see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and give a like if you enjoyed the video. But without further adu, let's jump right into the video itself. Alright, so starting things off, we're going to start with the most important Lunalight monsters first. The 10 cards of 3 Lunalight Colloidal Chick, 3 Wolf, 2 Emerald Bird, and 2 Yellow Marten, making it on to 10 cards in total, which are very, very important. Now, specifically, you can cut the Wolf to 2 and making it 9 if you feel like you would just need only 2 copies of Wolf, but there is a reason why I run 3 copies of Wolf. The reason why I run 3 copies of Wolf, which should be explained, is because Wolf by itself is still a very, very good card. Like, let's say you open up with a Colloidal Chick, and then, like, you open up, like, you know, with another card, it's get negated, you have another Lunalight in your graveyard, and then, like, you use Colloidal Chick effect, get the Panther Dancer to the graveyard, but get negated and sent to the graveyard. You're still able, as your Wolf, as your final card, to still fusion summon once, and then get still a Leo Dancer to your side of the field or whatever, and then just maybe wipe your opponent's entire board with, like, you know, maybe even if they have a Dragoon or something, if the Dragoon is not boosted, and basically just deal with your opponent's board if you are able to. So that's kind of nice about Wolf. Wolf sometimes is able to actually, like, as a 1-card final resort, not even as part of your combo, to be a very, very good card, so that's why I run 3 Wolf. It's also a great card to help you with piercing damage if you want to close out games. Doesn't really happen that much, but it's still very, very nice. I wish we also had Tiger, but yeah, Wolf is the only pendulum monster we currently have, unfortunately. Then for the others, we have Colloidal Chick, which is the most important one, which I should have talked about first, but I felt like I should talk about this before, because, you know, people sometimes think that you need to run 2. But Colloidal Chick is an absolutely ridiculous card, which has 3 effects. The first effect is not a hard once per turn, by the way. As for cost, you get to send any Lunalight monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, except I believe itself, and then you're able to gain its name until the end of the turn or whatever. Basically, the entire idea is that you just send, for example, a Panther Dancer from your deck to the graveyard with this effect. Sometimes you can even use this as a fusion monster on the field, and then summon 2 Leo Dancers if you're able to. But the point is that you're foolish barreling your entire deck or the cards that you need to the graveyard, and then start up your plays. Now, one thing to mention is that the send effect, because it's not a cost, or should I say, it's the cost itself, and not like the other effect. The effect of changing the name is the effect that on resolution. Basically, the send effect is the cost. The cards that from Lunalight that are, like, you know, getting effect when they're sent to the graveyard to trigger, like Yellow Marten or Emerald Bird, will not trigger because you send them as cost. So do keep that in mind. If your opponent activates an effect vanilla, like I said, it's a good thing for you. The effect will still resolve of sending the card to the graveyard because it's the cost. But if you want to depend on summoning these back, that will not happen. Now, the second and third effect are still very, very important. Polymerization, recovery when it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect is still pretty nice. Unfortunately, it doesn't search from deck, which is kind of like what I'm a little bit bummed about, because if it was able to search from deck, that maybe would make the card even more ridiculous. And the final effect is that, well, when it gets banished, you're able to basically just make your battle phase not affected by your opponent's stuff, so their opponent cannot activate anything, which is pretty cool. And then for the last 2 ones, Emerald Bird, when it's normal special summon, not as a cost, but as an effect, you're able to send any Lunalight card you want from your hand to the graveyard and draw a card, which your opponent most of the time is going to throw an Ash Blossom, or at least most of the players they're playing against, for some reason throw an Ash Blossom on this, for you not getting the extra card. I don't think that's such an important card to throw an Ash Blossom or an Effect Veiler on, but whatever. It does trigger your effects like Yellow Marten and Colloidal Chick when they're sent to the graveyard by a card effect, which is pretty cool. And then when sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you're able to basically special summon a level 4 or lower Lunalight monster with its effect negated from your graveyard or banished to your side of the field. And most of the time it's going to be Colloidal Chick, because like I said, the sent to the graveyard effect by her is the cost. So you're able to, even when the effect is negated, send a Panther Dancer, you just don't get the name, which is pretty cool. Then we have Yellow Marten. Yellow Marten is basically the Zephrys of the archetype. If it's in the graveyard, you're able to bounce any Lunalight card and then special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. But the effect that is mostly matter is that if this card is sent to the graveyard, to the graveyard by a card effect, you're able to add to your hand a Lunalight spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Unfortunately, it doesn't able to add Perfume because Perfume has Luna, Light, but it's able to add the 2 other spells and traps from your deck to your hand, which is pretty cool. But that does it for these Lunalight names. I kind of needed to explain these a little bit more than the others. And then for the one-off Lunalights, we have 1 Crimson Fox, 1 Blue Cat, 1 Purple Battlefly, and 1 Black Sheep. These are the one-offs. I don't really think I need to explain these that much, unlike the others. But these are more of like your utility cards. Crimson Fox is able, when it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you're able to basically target a monster your opponent control, and then, basically makes attack 0, which is really good for your OTKs. The second effect is if that this card is in your graveyard and, your opponent activate a monster, or an effect that targets your Lunalight monster, you basically able to banish this card from the graveyard, negate the activation, and both players gain 1,000 life points, which is pretty cool. So it does help. I wish it was any effect, could have been, when you control a Lunalight monster, if your opponent activate a card or effect, then you get to banish this. But I guess it's still fine, sometimes protecting yourself from targeting. But like I said, if it would have been when you control a Lunalight monster and your opponent activate a card or effect and this becomes a negate, this could have helped you deal with Nibiru's and stuff like that going first, so that could have been a lot better. In the case of Blue Cat is just, if you're able to special summon it, you just double a monster original attack, which is helping you with OTKs, and if it gets destroyed, you summon any Lunalight monster you want from your deck. Then the Purple Butterfly is probably the best one out of the 4. Basically, you can discard it or send it from your hand or field to the graveyard to basically increase the Lunalight monster attack by 1,000. And then if it's in the graveyard, you get to have the ability to banish it, special summon any Lunalight monster you want from your hand. I would run more, but I think just only 1 is what you need. As for Black Sheep, you're able to send it from your hand to the graveyard to either add a Polymerization from your deck to your hand, which will run 1, or add a Lunalight monster from your graveyard or extra deck to your hand except herself. And then if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect or used for a fusion summon, basically you're able to do the same second effect that I said, which is allowing you to add from your extra deck a Lunalight monster or from your graveyard a Lunalight monster back to your hand, which is pretty cool. So you only need the 1 in my opinion. Mostly you don't really use all of these effects that much, but it's still good to have them as utility. But that does it for the 14 Lunalight monsters. Now move on to the rest of the monsters, which are basically the going first card that we used, which is Artifact Scythe. The other going second cards, which are Radiant, Ash Blossom, and Skull Meisner. These are the cards that I decided to go with. So this is for the going first package. If you are forced going first, you still have the ability to deal with the opponent, or if you are forced into a grind game, you're still able to do that. And then Radiant is just able to tribute the Kaiju that you want to, or the tribute Kaiju that you want to. It's a dark, it's able to be banished by a Lower Darkness and contribute any problematic monster like Dragoon. Ash Blossom is just freaking Ash Blossom, and then Skull Meisner just because I'm running a Dark deck and I felt like I need additional more names for Dark, and it's still a very good hand trap in the format, so that's why I decided to go with it. But that does it for the monsters. Now we'll move on into the spells. And for the spells, for the 9 most important spells, 3 Perfume, 3 Foolish Burial Goods, and 3 Allure Darkness. Allure Darkness doesn't really need any introduction. You just run a Dark deck of 16 monsters that are Dark. You use this to banish those monsters that you don't need and draw 2 cards into your deck. And because this is Allure Darkness and not Desires, most of the time your opponent is not going to negate this for some weird reason, because you don't really get any negative effect. If your opponent just negate this, you just don't get to draw 2 cards and then banish 1. So that's kind of cool, which I like a lot. And then And then, of course, like the other reason why I don't run Desires is because I don't really want to manage my one-offs, and I don't want to make my one-offs into two-offs just because I run Desires, so that's why I decided to go with Allure. Then, for the Foolish Burial Goods, the entire point of this is either Foolish Burial and Lunalight Perfume, or the Serenade Dance, which is a very, very good card, because it's a trap card that you want to have in the graveyard. And then Lunalight Perfume is the most ridiculous card in the entire deck, probably the card that just keeps the entire archetype alive. It's basically a Monster Reborn, but it's also, for Lunalights of course, but it's also, on top of that, if it's in the graveyard, even the turn it was sent there, you're able to basically, and it's not a hard once per turn for both effects, you're able to send any card from your hand to the graveyard, and then basically search a Lunalight monster. Which is absolutely ridiculous because you can search, for example, your Wolf, which is not searchable by your Tenki, which unfortunately we only have one Tenki right now, but you know what I mean. And then you're also able to set up your graveyard in the right way that you want to, depending on the cards in your hand, which is really cool. And Foolish Burial Goods is just supposed to help you get the search that you need sometimes, which is really nice. And then for the one-off spells, we have the one copy of the one-off Tenki, unfortunately on the ban list, the one Foolish Burial, the one Lunalight Fusion, and the one normal Polymerization. Now, Tenki specifically, pretty understandable why this card is at 1. First and foremost, it's a very, very powerful card, let's be honest, with the Tri-Brigade Zodiac, but I think the reason why this card got hit is because they want to sell the future product with the Tri-Brigade of, like, you know, Mega Tens, and also Sarah the Luralosk stuff coming in Synchro Storm, so that's why this card got hit, and nothing else, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Then Foolish Burial is just to send your Real Martin, Emerald Bird, or whatever specifically you want to the graveyard. Lunalight Fusion is an amazing card. It's kind of like a weird-ish Shadow Fusion that allowing you, if your opponent control a monster from the extra deck, basically, you're able to send, one Lunalight monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard as a material additionally. So basically, you're able to sometimes, like, you know, do your normal summon or your normal fusion summon of, like, Leo Dancer, right? And then, like, have this as a Verde Anaconda target, send this with Verde, summon a second Leo Dancer because your opponent control a monster from the extra deck, which is pretty nice. And then normal Polymerization is again for the same idea for Verde, but it's also a searchable card if you need it to. And there's really no reason to run more than one. It's recoverable by Colloidal Chick and searchable by Black Sheep, so you don't really need more than one. And you have other cards that do the fusion better, so there's really no reason to run more than one, but it's still very good as a one-off. But that does it for the spells, and then for the traps, the one Serenade Dance, and then the 3 Infinite Impermanence. I don't really feel bad about Infinite Impermanence now, because Infinite Impermanence is basically a card that's going to be reprinted in less than 2 weeks for all of you. So if you don't have access for this Infinite Impermanence, you should get this as common in the Structure deck, which is pretty awesome, so that's kind of cool. And then Serenade Dance, basically you just use this effect when it's in the graveyard, you banish it, you discard a card, or send a card from your hand to the graveyard, I guess, and then you special summon a Lunalight monster from your deck, and it does trigger the Lunalight's effect, which is really awesome. I think Perfume does not trigger them because it's a discard, but this does trigger their effect. You send a card, and then you, for example, let's say you have an Emerald Bird, you can summon a Colloidal Chick from the banish, and then special summon, for example, a Wolf, and then go through on with your plays, which is very cool. But that does it for the main deck. Now we'll move on into the extra deck, and first off, let's start with the Lunalight Fusions, which are the following. 1 Cat Dancer, double Panther Dancer, the 1 Saber Dancer, and 2 copies of Leo Dancer. These are the 6 Lunalight Fusions that I think you need. Cat Dancer is actually used for your combos going first, or if you are in a desperate situation. And if you need to also, you're able to summon a Panther Dancer if, again, you don't have enough materials in the graveyard, which is kind of okay. Then Panther Dancer is mostly like your stepping stone for your Leo Dancer, but again, like I said, sometimes you do need to use these two specifically, so keep that in mind. And then Saber Dancer, if you're not able to get to any of these, but you still have a Lunalights in your graveyard, enough of them, you summon this, it's still become a big beast stick because it's on effect getting 200 attack for each Beast Warrior in the graveyard or banished. And it's just also a very nice setup card for the next turn, which is making your other fusion monster grow by 3,000 attack by banishing it from the graveyard, which is really cool. So Leo Dancer is definitely the main boss monster, but sometimes you have to go with these ones, and I decided to go with this ratio. I felt this is the best one. You're able to see all of them and use them in different kind of situations, which is pretty cool. And then for the other monsters, now we'll move on to the Xyz. The Xyz is Evil Swarm Nightmare, Abyss Dweller, Tornado Dragon, the Fire Fist Tiger King, and Time Thief Redoer. These are the Xyz monsters I decided to run. Evil Swarm Nightmare and Abyss Dweller are for the going first combos. Tornado Dragon is also for going first, but also to help you with annoying floodgates. And then we have Tiger King to help you basically skill drain the entire field and then continue your plays if you're able to. And then Time Thief Redoer is actually absolutely ridiculous in this deck because for some reason, when you use his effect, that doesn't count as a cost or whatever, it counts as sending them to the graveyard, which is triggering your Emerald Bird and Yellow Marten and whatever you need specifically to trigger the effect. I don't know why it does that, I need to read why it counts as that, but apparently it does trigger their effects, unlike things like like Abyss Dweller or Tornado Dragon or even Tiger King, so that is really, really cool, and that's the reason why Redoer is in the extra deck. And then for the Link monsters, speaking of which, for the last Link monsters, I run one Olmirage, one Bird Anaconda, one Underclock, and one Dagda. I must say it's not the most impressive lineup of Link monsters, but you don't really go into these that much. Dagda is for your Lock of Scythe. Undercloak is for your basically OTKs. Sometimes you're able, like, you know, for your 2-card OTK, you go Leo Dancer, and then you like kind of like after you like link into this with your Lil Martin and Kaleido Chick, you summon with the Wolf effect. You summon the Leo Dancer under this arrow, and then you're able to OTK your opponent, which is pretty cool. Verte is for the situations that you need the fusion spell with him. And then Olmirage is actually a weird one for maybe some people, but there are some situations that you do have only Yellow Marten and maybe a Wolf in your hand as a playable cards. So you go Yellow Marten into this, bounce the Wolf in your scale, summon the Yellow Marten, and still able to go into a Verde Anaconda and maybe able to fusion summon, depending on the cards that you have playable. So that is still something that you can do, which is really, really cool about that. But that does it for the extra deck and does it for the deck profile. So hope you enjoyed this one. Basically, this is kind of like the basic lineup that I decided to go with. But now, let's move on into the combo section. Welcome to the combo section. In the combo section, I'm going to share with you 3 Lunalight combos. Now, the Lunalight combos that I'm going to share with you are pretty much for going first, but you're also able to apply them for going second, like, you know, just change some particular things that you'll do with your cards. But the entire point of the combo is like, it's supposed to help you for the off chances that you are opening up, like, first. If your opponent forces you game 1 to go first, or game 2 and 3 to go first, what will you do? Because, yeah, this deck is built for OTK, but there are some particular weird scenarios. And for the first combo, this is the first 2-card combo, the Cookie Cutter combo, of Lunalight, Kaleido Chick, and Lunalight Perfume. Now, this can also be used as a combo for going second, which we'll discuss that when we'll get to that, but I'm going to show you first the going first version. So let's get started. So starting things off, we're going to normal summon Lunalight Kaleido Chick. Kaleido Chick effect will allow you to send Yellow Marten to the graveyard, and Yellow Marten effect will not trigger since Kaleido Chick effect is a cost. This will not trigger Marten effect because, yeah, that's how these effects work. Then we're going to activate the Lunalight Perfume, get back the Yellow Marten, and then we're going to Xyz these two into Time Thief Redoer. Time Thief Redoer will detach the Yellow Marten and banish itself. And that's, for some reason, I don't know why in ruling that does that, but it will trigger Yellow Marten effect to add to your hand the Serenade Dance. Now, you are going to use now Lunalight Perfume effect to banish itself, send the Serenade Dance from your hand to the grave, and add to your hand the Emerald Bird. We're then going to use Serenade Dance effect, banish it, send the Emerald Bird from hand to grave, and special summon directly from deck the Wolf. Next, Lunalight Emerald Bird effect will trigger, and we're going to special summon back the Kaleido Chick. Kaleido Chick effect will not give it the name, but you'll still send the Panther Dancer. And then we're going to use the effect of Yellow Marten in our graveyard to bounce the Wolf and special summon itself from your side of the field. Now, in this particular situation, there are 2 particular things that you can do. If you are going first, which is this is what this entire combo is about, you Xyz these 2 off and you create a rank 4, which in this particular case is Evil Swarm Nightmare, and you have this card as additional follow-up in your hand with additional 3 cards. If you're going second, however, you have an entire setup in your graveyard that you can use these two and summon instead the Underclock Taker, which then you have these three in graveyard, and then you can use the, Wolf to summon the Leo Dancer by banishing these three in the graveyard. However, like I said, this is for the going first combo, so we are going to end the board with this in hand, and then during the end phase, this will come back and could also be an additional interruption. But that does it for combo number 1. Like I said, it's more of like a setup. Let's move on into combo number 2. Moving on into combo number 2. Now, unfortunately, combo number 2 and combo number 3 are 3-card combos, but, some particular decks need to go that route. And for this particular 3-card combo, we need to open up with Yellow Marten, with Emerald Bird, and of course, Lunalight Perfume. Now, this combo is going to go as such. We're going to first normal summon Emerald Bird, use its effect to send the Yellow Marten from your deck to from your hand to the graveyard, draw a card, and then use the effect of Yellow Marten to get the Serenade Dance from your deck to your hand. Next, we activate the Perfume to special summon the Yellow Marten from your graveyard, and then we trigger Perfume effect, send the Serenade Dance, and add to your hand the Wolf. We're then going to use the effect of Serenade Dance, banish it itself, and then send from your hand the random draw that you drawn with the effect of Emerald Bird, and add to your hand, and special summon to your side of the field. I forget about that. To special summon Kaleido Chick. I thought it's adding to your hand. No, it's special summon from your side of the field. Kaleido Chick effect will allow you to send any Lunalight name from your deck to the graveyard. It doesn't really matter. For this particular example, I'm just sending a Black Sheep. And then we're going to basically exceed these two specifically into a Time Thief Redoer as combo number 1. We're then going to detach specifically the Emerald Bird and banish the Redoer, which will trigger Emerald Bird effect to special summon back the Kaleido Chick with its effect negated. Kaleido Chick effect will trigger. We'll send from our deck to the graveyard another Lunalight name, which I will explain why you're not sending a Panther Dancer when we'll get to the end. But now we can do the following. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to activate Lunalight Wolf in the scale, and then we're going to banish 2 Lunalight names from our graveyard. It doesn't really matter which 2. And then we're going to summon directly from our extra deck the lovely Lunalight Cat Dancer, which is a card that you normally don't really see. We're going to take Lunalight Yellow Marten and Cat Dancer, specifically these 2, and link them off into the Dagda. And then we're going to use the effect of Yellow Marten, bounce the Wolf, and special summon itself. Then we're going to exceed these 2, and we're going to summon Tornado Dragon. Now here is the reason why I don't summon what I like to call, send a Panther Dancer to the graveyard. It's because I only have 2 Lunalight names in the graveyard. Now, if this final card was another Lunalight name, that's all cool. You can get whatever you need to specifically. But I'm not always sure that this is going to happen. So in this particular combo, just because of that, I decided to send the Blue Cat as an example instead. So instead of that, we're going to use these 2 with the effect of Wolf again, and we're going to summon the Panther Dancer to your side of the field, which is still very, very nice. Also, I forgot to trigger the effect of Wolf, because Wolf, activating, you get to your side of the field the artifact Scythe. So that is kind of like how the combo work. You basically activate this, get the Scythe, then use the effect of Fusion, summon this, and you got yourself the Scythe Lock, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, specifically, you can always just make the argue that you don't really like the Scythe Lock, and you can always just, make an IP, and, for example, an Abyss Dweller, detach one of the effect of the Abyss Dweller, and still get yourself a Panther Dancer. There's still some particular things that you can do, but I felt like the Scythe Lock, most of the time, is just able to slow most decks in the metagame. Not all of them, but most decks in the metagame are kind of get slowed down, especially things like Tri-Brigade and stuff like that. But that does it for combo number 2. Let's move on into combo number 3. Welcome to the final combo, and for the final combo, I'm going to basically share with you a very, very favorite combo of mine, which is a combination of the first and second combo, kind of together, which is very, very cool. So for this particular combo, you need to have Kaleido Chick, Wolf, and Perfume in your hand, which is kind of just creating, like I said, kind of a combination between Combo 1 and Combo 2. It's kind of leaning to the Combo 2 end board, but it's going through the start of Combo 1, as you probably can see. So let's get started. So starting things off, we're going to normal summon the Kaleido Chick. Kaleido Chick effect will allow us to send the Yellow Marten to the grave, and then we're going to activate Perfume immediately to summon the Yellow Marten out of our graveyard. We're then going to Xyz, just like combo number 1, and go into the Time Thief Redoer, detach Yellow Marten, and then banish the Redoer, and trigger Yellow Marten effect to get to our hand the Serenade Dance. We're then going to use the effect of Perfume, and then we're going to send the Serenade Dance, and add to our hand the Emerald Bird. Serenade Dance, we're going to banish that, send the Emerald Bird, and special summon, because we already have in our hand a Lunalight Wolf, summon another copy of Kaleido Chick directly from our deck, because this effect is not a harder once per turn, and you can control more than one, which is kind of cool. Then we're going to use its effect of Emerald Bird, summoning the second copy of Kaleido Chick in our graveyard, and then activate both of their effects, sending the whatever Lunalight name you want from your deck, and a Panther Dancer from your deck to the graveyard. We're then going to use the Lunalight Wolf effect, banishing specifically the 2 cards that are not Panther Dancer and Yellow Marten in the graveyard, and then summon a Cat Dancer from your deck, or extra deck. Then we're going to use Yellow Marten effect, bounce the Wolf, and special summon, and then we're going to use one of the Kaleido Chick and the Cat Dancer, sorry, and we're going to link into a Dagda. Then we're going to take the 2 here and Xyz into a Tornado Dragon, just like combo 2. And then we're going to activate Wolf. Wolf effect will let you to set the artifact Scythe directly from your deck due to artifact Dagda's effect. We're now going to use, finally, Wolf effect, and just unlike combo number 2, we do have a Panther in our graveyard, and we have 3 names instead of 2, so that's why I sent specifically the Panther. So 1, 2, 3 names in our graveyard. We summon to our side of the field the lovely boss monster, Leo Dancer, and pass the turn to our opponent. Of course, during the end phase, this card is back, which I forgot to mention in combo 2, and it can also be serving as another interruption or draw a card or whatever specifically it's able to do due to the card that it's stealing. But yeah, that's pretty much done for the combo. Honestly, it's really cool. Of course, this could be changed for, going second combo depending on the combination of the cards in your hand, so it can also be like, oh, I'm just forcing 2 Leo Dancers, which can also be something cool that you can do. So that could be the application for combo, for the going second. But I feel like those combos are a lot more easier to perform. I wanted to show specifically what happened if you're forced for going first. But that does it for the combo section, and let's show you what I have for you for the next deck choices. So for the next deck choices for the, next video, I decided to put Spirals on a hold for a while due for my own personal reasons, and instead I still have the 2 returning options of Mutants and basically Paleos. However, the 2 new options for you to choose from are now the returning deck Predator Plants, and a new deck that I haven't done on the channel yet, but I finally have the card, which is Harpies. So you're able to choose one of these 4 options. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you want to see. But that's pretty much does it for the video. So hope you enjoyed. As I always like to say, please consider to like and subscribe if you do. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.